What?
That I'm looking forward to this.
Wait. Okay, I'd like to call the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting for January 24th to order. And so first off, this meeting is also via Zoom. So I don't know if there's anyone online. Do I need to read? I know George always reads 4,000 numbers. So there's a link. Good gosh. What number do you read here? The passcode? The passcode, so there's the uso2web.zoom.us, and there's a URL to click in, and the passcode is 177366. The webinar ID is 857-0316-1357. And the phone number is 1-719-359-4580. And there's 14 more after that, but that's the main one. Okay, let's start off with doing roll call.
Commissioner Zipperly,
Here.
Commissioner Weimer,
Here.
Commissioner Waller,
Here.
Commissioner Connerton,
Here.
Commissioner Shaver, Commissioner White,
Here.
Commissioner Wissing, Commissioner Davy.
Here.
And I'll take a motion to seat alternate Commissioner April Davy.
So moved. I'll second.
We'll just do a voice thing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Welcome. Next on the agenda is the receipt of the minutes from the December 13th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes.
In my review of the minutes, I didn't see recorded the decision that we made.
I saw the same thing. Did that matter? Hannah?
Can you elaborate on your decision that was lacking a little bit?
Well, it goes through the different items that we discussed, and then it goes right to commissioner comment. So there was no record in the notes on how the commission voted on the new items, community housing standards.
Remember, we made a motion and we struggled and you helped us with our wording.
We
and-
amended it from the staff
Right.
suggestions,
That-
so this doesn't actually say what we came up with.
Staff will certainly take a look at that and amend it so that it includes the motion that was made
That would be good.
and the vote.
Okay, any other additions or deletions or whatever to the minutes? You want to make a motion to approve them and with that addition?
I move to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of December 13th as written, but with the addition of the commission's decision following the discussion that's recorded.
I'll second.
Okay. We'll just do a verbal vote as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Those passed. Next is comments from citizens appearing for items not on the agenda. Are there any on Zoom? I'm assuming there are none. Okay, the new item we have, the only agenda item we have for this meeting is the Glenwood Springs Comprehensive Plan Update 2023 to the comp plan. And the P and Z will, based on this is a public hearing, so could make a resolution to approve those minutes. or the comp plan as we go. So I see, Jim, you're here to start off the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for being here this evening. I'd like to let you know that we have Nora Bland from Cushing Terrell, our consultant. She's online and available to answer any questions this evening. And Danielle Campbell, also here with us this evening to help out, along with our esteemed director, Anna Klossman. And let me open this up here. I'd like to welcome you all and thank you for the work that you've done thus far on this project. I'd like to share with you what we're doing, what we've done, and where we're going. First, I just wanted to remind you all what a comprehensive plan is intended to do. For a number of different reasons, a comprehensive plan is helpful in guiding the future of a community as growth occurs. Decision-making is positively affected. It gives the municipality better control over the decisions that they make. Gives everybody a big picture idea of what is happening, what's happened, and where we're going from the 2011 comprehensive plan, as this is the 2023 comprehensive plan update. It helps us look at competing interests. It helps us evaluate. It helps us compare, and it equitably helps and allows a consensus to be gained through the process. Not everybody walks away with exactly what they want, and that's not the intention, but it's for everybody to be heard. And we feel that this has happened through the process. Two items here on the bottom of the page, just to give you some context as to where the Planning Commission and the City Council are within this process. We have a Colorado state statute, which indicates that the Planning Commission is indeed a recommending body or a resolution adopting body for this process. We need at least two public, or at least one public hearing, two of which have been noticed, two times of which been noticed for this meeting. And then at the end this evening, no less than 2/3 of an affirmative vote from the Planning Commission is required for this to move forward. Within our municipal code, it also indicates that the council has an approval requirement, and that will be a portion of our next step. How is the plan to be used? We have a unique ability here to identify how one particular document can be used by a number of different entities. You see on this graphic here, you've got the community, city staff, planning, zoning commission, and city council. It's not as simple as that. Sometimes you also have outside entities, you have architects, land use planners, engineers, that all have an idea of being able to look at the same document and to fairly identify what the community has talked about over this 17-month process, with most of the work being done within the last 13 months. But for you as a planning commission to be able to rely on those recommendations based on staff reports that have an idea of what the community wants is essential here. So it consistently moves around and helps us all understand what we're looking at, how to use it, and how it benefits everyone. Additionally, not only does it help us understand how land use recommendations are processed, it helps us understand how updates happen, how changes happen, and how a complete rewrite isn't necessary at this particular juncture. An update to the 2011 was the choice of direction, and this is where we find ourselves now. Some of the goals and strategies from the 2011 plan are still in, many of them are still in place. Several have been modified and updated. One relationship that you can think about in context to how the plan is used also is an extent off to in some cases a static entity, and that is a lot of these other plans with countless hours which have been put into and processed to make other master plans and supportive plans available for us to use in addition to the comprehensive plan. All of these functional plans are useful in helping us understand subsets of what has been identified most likely by the comprehensive plan. Although to include all of them in one big comprehensive plan would be a little disingenuous to the idea of understanding what each individual function or area of focus needs. Another idea within the use of the comprehensive plan is that it's, again, not a static document. It's looked at consistently, constantly. We're always reviewing it. We're always looking for errors or misconnections that may have not happened during this entire process. But within 3 to 5 years, the idea is to move to update it when necessary, in addition to some of those smaller changes. The city may amend the comprehensive plan, as I mentioned, and a number of things need to be in place for that to occur. The first one indicates that subsequent events have invalidated the original premise and findings. There has to be a significant reason for that to happen. Character and condition of the areas that have changed that are surrounding the particular appointment or item that we're discussing have to be addressed. And facilities which are supportive to a particular area or something that it is that we're looking at changing need to be found to be inadequate at a certain time, which the comprehensive plan can then be used to work to fix. And then with the idea that suitably designated land is available to accommodate the proposed use as a function in connection with the community benefiting from the overall change must be a part of what it is that we're talking about. There are two different types of adjustments that can happen here. One is minor. It is at the discretion of the planning director, and it typically covers grammatical errors, shifts, and functions of things that may be out of place. And within the idea that a processing of a rezoning application where you might have an adjacent land use designation that this would support is also at the discretion of the director. A formal change is one that involves the city council. It also involves you, and it can follow in line concurrently with a rezoning, subdivision, development permit, or other land use application. It also can be requested by a number of other entities, as you can see there, from residents to city staff. Community engagement process thus far, and initially starting, to be clear, with a survey in July of 2021, excuse me, gave us an idea of where to go. It identified information that was important to the community members, stakeholders, and any other group that was surveyed at that particular time. In December of 2021, and up until last December, you can see that upwards of 38 activities, outreach and engagement activities, were performed by our consultant and staff, from open houses to Hispanic and Latino outreach, 10 steering committees, 3 online surveys, actually, 9 pop-up events, 8 focus groups, board and commission liaison steering committee meetings, and 2 work sessions, which have recently happened. The little graphic on the right side there gives you an idea how the steering committee has worked in identifying and moving from the greater idea of themes within the open houses, pop-ups, and focus groups to working with and looking at strategies and actions, which were eventually pushed out to open houses and the Latino community picnic. And then the redefining of priorities and of the priorities happened within the context of open houses and our final online survey, which opened December 13th and closed on January 6th. The essential contents of the update can be defined generally within the context of taking the 2011 plan, reorganizing it, simplifying a lot of elements and parts that may not necessarily have worked throughout that life of the document, up into the point where, as the stakeholders and other interested individuals had been part of this process, had looked at putting things into perspective, different areas of organization. And they came up and looked at 3 overarching themes of, and that bounced out into a larger bold area there. Equity, health, and well-being is one of them. Resiliency of the policy actions that are put in place, and community character were identified and discussed. Community goal addition, indicating that we have looked at and identified climate resiliency goals as a core interest and a point of importance to this process. Within the planning framework, the chapters of the plan itself, land use and growth management and climate and hazards have been identified as 2 new items, bringing the total to 10. Our policy action plan, which you'll find in the latter stages of the document, give us an idea of translating these goals and strategies into policy action items, which are then pushed forward and championed and monitored by a number of different government agencies, quasi-judicial, can I say? Is that fair to say? Where we have those that are in charge of making sure that these are addressed over time. Here's a small graphic that helps you understand how we have broken down and taken a look at, and actually we didn't break down it. We have taken what they were using in 2011 and built those 2 new sections that you can see there: climate hazards at the top, land use and growth management there. But the idea that all of those have been discussed and they support each other at times, they are awfully similar at times, but ultimately they end up creating a set of goals, strategies, and policy actions, which we are able to then look at and identify as a function of how we use that plan to make our community, for lack of a longer list, a better place. In general, goals are broad statements. They were meant to capture the idea of particular interests and not necessarily have any kind of movable or structured strategy, which would allow us then, once established, to later on create a policy action that has some type of meat to it, something that entities can use to move and push within the context of their organization out and make and satisfy the plan's intent. The most recent set of changes have occurred since the last steering committee meeting in November. But with this plan, with this survey, we've identified that there are a number of things that have changed within it, and nothing is heavily is not a heavy change per se, but within context of one of them at the top, you can see there midway down, when we're talking about and as it quotes are not only recognizing the downtown area, but also West Glenwood, South Glenwood, and Wolfson shopping areas. A public survey comment had indicated to us, and there was overwhelming support that we should be looking at and identifying Glenwood Springs as a whole, not just specific entities or places around town. So that gives you the idea of how one of those particular changes occurred. Actually, that was the only updated goal at this point in the process. The other major changes that you'll be able to note down below are found within those 3 chapters. The first one was within land use and future growth management. Within our map, we identified certain areas that through opportunity areas of growth were modified to a secondary and primary areas of concern. The page number 41 indicates where you could find those changes. Transportation changes were also made in context to local transportation and RAFTA usage, and the trail network of LOVA, which both of them hadn't been fully applied within the idea of some of the discussions that we had up to the point of the survey, and some of those comments helped us understand that on those 2 pages, identification of and strengthening those was necessary. On page 105, you'll find that we were also able to apply changes to the policy action items where necessary. Climate and hazards also was the recipient of an adaptive use and green infrastructure item that looked at longevity and the usage of a number of different things, including like fleet usage and a number of other items found on page 114 in the policy action section. This gives you a simple breakdown of the 2 new sections. Additions of significant shift are identified with the plus, and the minor shifts are in green. The minor shifts included some public utilities services in connection with water conservation. Natural resources involved environmental leaders. Cultural resources in the arts had to do with identifying multicultural hubs, and everything else had additions or significant shifts that are identified through this list, as you can see here. The proposed future land use map, or FLU map, is an idea of being able to look at the broader context of the city and understand how our goals, strategies, and policy actions are manifested in the land use plan. The 23 comprehensive plan update areas are of a significant section of town have only been updated in a few small places. But the areas of change where we have identified have an emphasis on select areas and that we have seen where the city anticipates change. One thing of note is within our urban growth boundary, are the differences between the 2011 plan and the present plan. You'll note that there are 4 areas that have been modified slightly. The one to the northeast, the larger area, is a parks and open space section. Oops, excuse me. These 2 smaller areas have been identified as conservation areas. And this was a land use park that has been since pulled off of the city's urban growth boundary. So in addition to this plan moving forward and becoming a working part of what the city uses in managing its growth, is the idea of creating a small practical working addendum document that allows us to condense and push together for a daily use for planners, for in-house and out of house in the community, architects, engineers, and even homeowners who are planning changes within their properties can access this second document, which will be synthesized down and brought back to you for approval. But it will contain less of the narrative of the plan, and it will have a concise identification, or it'll have a concise build of a planning framework of or a housing within that document that identifies clearly and quickly strategies, policy actions, and page numbers. And you'll be able to go back and forth between the 2 documents if you're needing more information from the updated plan versus the practical working addendum. And that will be something that we'll be working on within the next couple of months. Where are we going with this process? We are looking at a public council meeting sometime in March. We're nearing the end of this process, and we're at a point now where we can clearly look at making sure that what we have done in the last month, I should say, is clearly identifying that we do have the elements in the plan that is necessary and ready to move forward for approval. And then these are your action items for the meeting this evening. The recommendation is to approve the 2023 Glenwood Springs Comprehensive Plan and forward to City Council for adoption with findings. And you can see the 6 recommended approval suggested findings down below. With that, as a conclusion to what it is that we have seen happen with comprehensive plan up to this point, and with this team moving forward to finish it up, I would just like to turn it back to you for any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, questions by the commission?
That was great. Thanks. You made a lot of the changes that were discussed at the joint meeting. So I really appreciate all that hard work that you guys did. So well done. And so when you say you're going to come back with a more condensed way for us to look, for people to look at it, like planners and builders and things like that, is it going to look more like the action plan that you already kind of have in here?
To a degree, yes.
Okay.
It will have that. It will
Yeah.
have so within the context of the different framework chapters,
Yeah.
it will have the narrative and discussion behind each one of the correlating policy action items that are found later. It doesn't have the background. It won't have the context of that particular part of the chapter.
Okay. Yeah, no, I really appreciated the changes and the pictures.
Ms. White?
At the last joint meeting we had, there was a lot of talk about defining what Glenwood character is. And did we make any sort of change to the document on that?
I would love some support from my team on this one.
As of right now, we have not made any direct changes to Glenwood character. That is something that we are hoping to compile as well in the addendum. One of the things that definitely we heard a lot through the work sessions is making sure that that's very clear and kind of having like that condensed shorter bullet points. What are we preserving? So that is the goal. We believe that that is really very comprehensively within that first chapter, but being able to pull out those pieces. So that is something that we are looking at and be able to move forward within the addendum. So that is still on the radar.
I have a couple of questions. One was so you talked about that you'll be reviewing the plan every 3 to 5 years. I was in there.
Yes.
And what my question was, I mean, one of the things that I love about the plan is the action plan at the end. I think that gives it meat, it's awesome. And it seems like 3 to 5 years is too long. It seems like every year, at least the action plan would be updated. And maybe there's minor administrative things or there's a major, I mean, I don't know, maybe something changed environmentally or whatever. So I guess my question or concern a little bit is 3 to 5 years seems too long because we only do it every 10 years. So that means it's not looked at very often if I understand the way that says 3 to 5 years.
It's a fair question, and it is variable for some communities. Many update it more often, some let it go way too long, and they lose sight of what it is that's important to their community. I think to do it too often doesn't give the opportunity to the champions, the different agencies and individuals who are in charge of satisfying some of those policy action items, doesn't give them a chance for many of them to be realized because there are oftentimes many steps, funding to be found, processes, budgets that need to be worked with. So expecting them to be able to get everything done, you're not asking that, but I see where you're going. I think giving everybody just a little bit of an opportunity to become successful with the things that the community has found important, I think is essential. But we will look at it. We do look at it often.
So who is the, I mean, I kind of see that P&Z is the organization that's, I don't know if responsible is the right word or not, but owner or whatever of it. But I mean, staff is really more the owner than us because you kind of drive us. But I guess I just have concern from doing many action plans over the past that if you don't keep them somewhat fresh, that someone, I mean, there's many tasks to do. Everyone has way too much to do already. So it just seems like that would be done more often. I mean, in a real time, and maybe it goes that, hey, we're getting set off, we're not going to get to this for another year because these other things came in. So my action plan on item 4.2 is, I'm throwing it away. I don't care about it anymore, or maybe I need to pull it in. Anyway, that's kind of what my.
Can I just ask a question to your point? So you're saying the action plan would be maybe updated more than the entire comp plan?
Yeah, I'm not saying the comp plan. I'm just saying the action plan is just looked at maybe once a year, and anyway, that's really my question.
Jim, do you mind if I jump in really quickly? I'm so sorry. This is Nora Bland with Cushing Carroll. I would say that the action plan after this plan becomes adopted is almost like turned into an Excel spreadsheet that staff is using that's constantly, they're adding notes in like, okay, we tried to move this thing forward, or this complication happened and that's why this is stalled. So it's like, there's a priority associated with a lot of the action items in there. So that's kind of where they start. It's almost like this is our internal to-do list once this plan has been adopted. And so I think that those are being revisited quite often.
I mean, I don't think it's it's not, I don't know. Just seems like, you went to all the work and it's an awesome thing that you keep kicking butt. Anyway, okay, thank you. Yes.
So along the same lines there, a periodic update of the action plan. There's different commissions and boards that have given us a lot of input to this action plan. And we know that a lot of them are planning to revise their master plans or action plans or the things that they're working on as a more focused group. So I think that whichever of our boards and commissions are kind of responsible for the content of each of these action plans keeps that as a tabbed document so that they can also take notes and note changes or things that are working or not working and feed that back to staff regularly.
Yeah, I guess I would request that once a year, and I don't need to see the comp plan updated, but I would just like to see, the action plan that just says everything's good, 80% of it's good. These two we're dropping, these four were, this person quit and, whatever kind of thing. It would never be you, Hannah.
The priorities might change as well.
Yeah,
As are
exactly.
marked on here.
Any others? Does anyone have any other questions? I have one other one.
Okay.
So I love the condensed version because I remember that was a conversation coming out. I think that's a good thing. So that's good. And so is that something that we see again, or is that just an administrative thing that's done and just happens, or is that something that comes to planning and zoning and
So
see it or review it? Or
Hannah, correct me if I'm wrong, it would go through essentially the same process of presentation.
Jim is correct. And we did this back in 2011 as well for the executive summary. It came back for planning and zoning review. So expect to do that again.
so does the steering committee look at that, or is that just, is it just kind of more like an administrative thing in the planning and zoning and then goes, okay,
Really more to just see that we got everything necessary for the condensed version, because we're not going to put anything new in the condensed version. It
Cool.
is truly a condensed version of the plan.
okay.
Eliminating while keeping everything in.
Okay, cool. Any other?
I do want to thank you for taking so much time to put this document together. And I noticed that the table of contents is clickable now. It'll take you right to the division. So that's very helpful. I'm sure the public as a whole is going to appreciate that too.
Great job.
By Glenwood, change some pictures, you change the format. It looks great.
No, good job. A lot of
Good
work.
job. a lot of
Well,
work.
Thank you all, and you're looking at me when you do this, but I'm the new guy, and
Yeah.
there's a huge team of past individuals that aren't here with us anymore on the team. And as we're moving forward, I just can't even begin to tell you how important everybody has been to this entire process. So thank you.
Okay, now let's move to the comments from the public. Do you have any comments from the public?
Well,
Could you please come to the podium and state your name and address, please?
My name's Stephen Powder. I was on the steering committee. And I was glad to hear tonight that they are going to come forward with a condensed version. I think that is important because one criticism that I have had with the final document is it's a huge document. And it's full of detail, and the aphorism "less is more" comes to mind. And it can be a stronger document, the condensed version, less granular, more of a synthesis of the major themes of the document. It gives that kind of boil down into the action plan, and that you can really deal with and one of the things that I see coming in the next 10 years will be the South Bridge in the airport area. And that is not really covered, but that too well in the comprehensive plan, but it could be the trigger to redo the entire plan. So comment about that. Housing has really been emphasized, a lot of stuff about the housing problem in Glenwood, and I acknowledge that. But the only real thing on the forefront that is really going to get traffic off of Grand Avenue is probably the South Bridge. Moving traffic around is not the solution. And more housing exasperates congestion. So these are things, you know, and that I knew you as a deliberative body, you're also a recommending body. I think just need maybe to think about and to be. The South Bridge is such a regional, I mean, it's a regional issue. The money for it is big. The responsibility is not just Glenwood. And to make it happen, the city and the city staff really have to be champions and deal with it within the community because of the huge impact that it's going to have in the housing areas along Midland and in South Glenwood. But having said that, I think it's a good document and it was quite an effort. Thank you.
Thanks for your time too, David. You put a lot of time in. Any more comments from staff?
Not at this time.
One minute? Oh, to find out if there was anyone on Zoom? No one on Zoom? Okay. Thank you. Okay, seeing that there's no one on Zoom, then we'll close the public portion of the meeting. Okay, now we're to the point where Commissioner can make a motion to approve or to go forward with this.
I would like to move to approve the draft comprehensive plan. Suggest approval, right, to the city council. And with the findings on page 18 of the video staff report.
Could you put that back up again for us so we could all see that, Jim?
18. So do we approve or do we recommend that council approve?
Recommend that they
You're
adopt.
recommending the council approve.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor.
And I'll second.
It's a second. Okay, any comments from the commission? Yes, Joy?
I'm just wondering if this is the appropriate time to do it, but I guess I will say it. As P and Z, there are often times where we receive applications that either meet or do not meet building code, and we're taught that we can use the comprehensive plan to give further evidence that it doesn't support what we envision as a city. And so we can deny and or approve based on the comprehensive plan. So I would love to see Carl or remind me of your name, Richard. Richard, provide us with either a work session or a presentation on how we can do that within the confines of city law and do it effectively, but not get ourselves into a lawsuit. That's my comment.
Okay,
We were just discussing February's agenda, potentially involving a legal training.
There you go. I like it.
okay, thank you. Any other comments? I don't think that that what you added changes the motion, is that?
No.
It's like, here's additional work for us to do. Yep, okay. Okay, well, let's take a vote. Let's call the vote. Here's my thing. Do I have one?
Well, that's weird.
His voting thing.
You don't see the light up.
He doesn't have a bar of 5 buttons.
Somebody
Does
stole-
the mayor not vote?
Somebody stole the mayor's.
I'll vote out loud. I'm in favor. No, I don't have a.
Just go ahead and do it like that.
Yeah, we can put it in the minutes. It's up to you.
Okay.
No, there's not one.
Yeah, absolutely. You got real.
Motion passed unanimously 6-0.
Okay.
Shortest meeting.
Hey, thank you very much. So this is a whole lot of work. Oh, my gosh. Danielle, I mean, the steering committee, thousands of people, I think. Hannah. Okay,
There were 2 reports in there that I was unfamiliar with, but it wasn't essential to the motion, but there was the 2019 area-wide master plan and also a 2020 recreation and rural communities plan. Never heard of them.
This-
Reading to do.
this was good as well. I thought this was good when you threw this in, the resolutions
Yeah.
thing, that kind of, that was like legal training that we could just read and figure it out.
Yeah.
That was good. That was helpful.
Got it.
That was good.
Are they in the process of updating the climate and what was it, the energy and
Action?
climate
Yeah.
action plans? It seems like a lot has changed since 2009.
You're stealing my content for direct
Oh, I'm
comments.
so
but,
good.
Well, I think,
I'm like preemptive on everything.
So city council in a work session is moving forward for staff to issue an RFP for an update to that climate action plan. We had a small committee did a survey of surrounding communities to see how they did theirs so that we could get an idea, and we will be moving forward with that.
Is there one place on the city website where all these action plans and reports and things are housed, or are they all in individual sort of dispersed across the whole city website?
I think they are more dispersed, but I can have a conversation with Bree to see if we can list all of our amazing plans in one spot.
Not that I really want to spend all my spare time reading them, but somebody might.
but
And
you'd
you know,
like to ask the question that if you wanted to, you could.
yeah, I just, the search function on the
Okay.
city's website is not very user friendly, so there's probably some easier way to locate these documents. Because I want to know what rural recreation is about.
Okay.
Sounds like horses.
Be horses. Okay, so I think we've already started the commissioner comments.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments you would like to add?
Sure. Yeah. I just, I kind of want to echo what you said earlier, what Commissioner Waller said earlier about, just having like a place where we can really hold ourselves accountable for that action plan and, give each other and citizens an update on where we are on certain agenda items. I think that's a really important, like potentially living document that, makes us more responsive and resilient as a city. So, other than that, this looks really amazing. It's so impressive and just super pleased with all the hard work.
It is impressive. Thank you, April.
I think April nailed it. 100%. Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
I just say it's been an honor being involved in the process, and it was very interesting to get to know some of the other commissioners from the other boards that we have, and to just hear their perspectives on their respective subjects. I think I would like to, in the future, hear maybe broad updates from what's going on in the other commissions. Because I think it keeps us abreast how this comprehensive plan is playing out.
Do you have any?
No. That was fantastic presentation. Thank you. And thanks to everybody here because it's always such a great dialogue and we just live in such a great community and how lucky are we that we can participate in this really great plan to, make us more vibrant going forward. So thanks so much, everybody, all of you guys. Yeah.
Huzzah.
I felt like, patting some backs here.
Yeah, I'd like to echo some of what Joy said there. We have some really great people on all of our different boards and commissions, and I feel a little removed from them. And in meeting them during the comprehensive plan process, I've just realized how valuable they are. And also if the citizens of this city have anything to gripe about, that we did something without them, they missed the ball because they had so many opportunities to comment and be engaged in the process. So it's their own darn fault if they didn't. And hopefully we can get a little more involvement even by the time we review the action plans and eventually 10 years down the road have to rewrite this document. But we have some of the most valuable resources in our city are its people. And all of us included.
Thank you very much. I echo what everyone says about the comp plan. I mean, what a marvelous thing to be part of. I mean, we learn so much about what's going on in our community. I think that is wonderful. And then one of my comments that I had, I think I kind of brought it up before. So if we're doing like a legal training or whatnot, it would be good to throw in the rules and regs thing for P and Z that I think we just did it right when I started anyway. But it's a great document. It would be good to just kind of go through and at least get it out to everyone. And then if people have questions, they can ask questions. We don't need to go through it line item by line item.
Is that available online?
I doubt it. So yeah, I can prepare something that would include that. It would include a discussion of kind of our truncated parliamentary procedures, and then the quasi judicial and legislative proceeding distinction. I think that would cover it, but if there's any pressing legal issues you guys come up with, let me know.
Things to absolutely avoid and never say.
Correct.
Give us those.
That's kind of, the things that
You need to give us the eye if you go like this. That means shut up, Joy.
It's Joy kick Pete.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. Comments from the director? I love that name to call you the director.
Thanks. I like it too.
Congratulations, by the way.
So we already covered the climate action plan, which will be coming up and should be very interesting work as we update that. We've got some great people working on it. This week we have quite a few public meetings just to keep you guys in the loop. We have our North Landing project that will be occurring tomorrow at the community center.
Yes.
As that moves along, and we will also have a meeting for the 2C Housing Fund that's meeting on Thursday to continue that work of preparing for a committee as well as the housing program to go along with the voter approved ballot funds. For our February meeting, we have a single application at this time. It's a variance application, so your guys' favorite. So probably a good time if we can pull it together with legal to go over some of that training that you just requested, since it won't be a very long meeting. And that's all I have.
What about the new city manager, which we all read about? We're very excited about. So I don't know if you know anything at all yet or.
Yeah, so
Dr. Beverly.
We're going to be welcoming Dr. Beverly Marshall as the new city manager, and she has a start date in March. So everyone is excited for that position to be filled as well.
Okay. Anything else? I think we are adjourned.
Fastest meeting ever.
Wow.
I'll Banner to close the doors early.